The night the bond shattered, the moon was full. It hung over the Blackwood Packlands like a silent witness, silver light spilling over ancient pine trees, stone halls, and the grand courtyard where wolves had gathered to celebrate what should have been a sacred union. Elara stood alone at the center of it all. Her white ceremonial gown fluttered in the cold wind, delicate fabric, embroidered with the sigil of her mate's house. The torches around the courtyard hissed and crackled, but no one spoke. Hundreds of eyes were fixed on her. And on him, Alpha Kale, future king, ruthless warrior, the most powerful alpha of his generation, her mate, or at least he had been. Kale's jaw was carved from stone, his broad shoulders draped in dark ceremonial armor. His eyes, those molten gold eyes that once softened only for her, were now distant, cold, unreadable. Elara of Crescent Ridge, the elder announced, voice echoing against the stone walls. Do you accept Alpha Kale as your fated mate, bound by moon and blood? The words felt like knives. Elara's wolf whimpered inside her. Once she would have answered before the sentence finished. Once she would have stepped forward eagerly. But that was before the whispers, before the accusations, before Kale stopped looking at her the way he used to. Her voice trembled, the courtyard held its breath. Kale didn't move to steady her, didn't reach for her hand, didn't even look at her. That hurt more than anything, because only 3 nights ago she had heard him. In the War Council chamber, his voice low and sharp. She's too weak to stand beside me as Luna, he had said. Her heart had broken in silence. Now the fragments cut deeper. Elara lifted her chin. If he wanted strength, she would give him strength. I refuse, gasps tore through the crowd. The elder's staff struck the ground. You understand what you are saying. To reject a fated bond is to sever it forever. I understand. Kale finally looked at her. For a split second, something flashed in his eyes, shock, fury, or something dangerously close to regret. But he said nothing. The ritual knife was placed in her trembling hands, silver, blessed under the last blood moon. She sliced across her palm. Pain bloomed sharp and searing. But nothing compared to what followed. The bond snapped. It wasn't a sound the ears could hear. It was a tearing inside her soul. A howl ripped from her throat as her wolf screamed in agony. Across from her, Kale staggered back, hand clutching his chest. Their glowing mating marks burned bright, and then went dark. The moon above seemed to dim. Silence, the bond was broken. Elara swayed, but she didn't fall. She would not fall in front of them. Without another word, she turned and walked away. The pack parted for her. Some looked horrified. Others relieved, a few satisfied. She didn't look back. Every step away from the courtyard felt heavier, like chains dragging behind her. Her wolf was quiet now, too quiet. Dead silence inside her mind where warmth once lived. She reached the gates of the stronghold, the massive iron doors towering above her. Guards hesitated. She's no longer Luna, one muttered. She was never strong enough, another whispered. Elara heard everything. She kept walking. Beyond the gates stretched the winding road down the mountain, silver under moonlight. No escort, no belongings, no future, just the cold. She made it only halfway down before her knees buckled. The pain hit fully then. The broken bond was a living wound. It tore through her chest, through her veins, through her very wolf. She pressed her palm against her sternum and gasped. Why does it hurt this much? Because he was yours. Tears blurred the forest. She didn't realize how long she knelt there in the dirt. Minutes, maybe longer. Until the thunder of hooves, Elara stiffened. No one traveled this mountain road at night. The sound grew louder, closer. Not one horse, several, heavy, powerful, a royal procession. She forced herself to stand. Through the curve of the road, lanterns appeared first, golden, swaying lights cutting through the darkness. Then black stallions clad in armor. Behind them, a massive carriage unlike any she had ever seen. Obsidian wood carved with ancient sigils. Crimson banners bearing a crown pierced by claws. Her breath caught. That crest belonged to only one house. The high throne, the carriage of the Alpha King. Why would the king be here? The procession slowed. Stopped right in front of her. The lead rider dismounted swiftly and approached her. His armor gleamed darker than night itself. He bowed to Lady Elara of Crescent Ridge, he said formally. By decree of His Majesty, the Alpha King, you are requested to present yourself. Requested? Elira's heart pounded. There must be a mistake. There is no mistake. The carriage door opened. Silence fell over the forest, and then a boot touched the ground. Black leather, immaculate, powerful. The man who stepped out carried the weight of a kingdom in his posture alone. Taller than any alpha she had ever seen. Broad-shouldered, dark hair like midnight. His eyes were not gold, they were silver, pure glowing silver. The mark of the Alpha King. He looked at her as if he had been searching for her. For years, Elara, he said. Her name rolled from his lips like it belonged there. She swallowed, Your Majesty. Behind her, far up the mountain, the Blackwood stronghold stood under the moonlight. She didn't know that from the highest tower, Cale was watching. And when he saw the royal carriage stopped before the woman he had just lost, his blood ran cold. Because the Alpha King did not stop for just anyone, and he certainly did not say a rejected woman's name like that. The king stepped closer, not touching her, not yet, but near enough that the air between them changed. You left without a word, he said quietly. Confusion flickered through her pain. Your Majesty, we have never met. A faint smile touched his lips. No, he said, but you were never meant for him. The forest seemed to hold its breath. Elira's heart, broken only minutes ago, skipped. And somewhere deep within her silent wolf, a pulse stirred. The king, who knew her name, the forest, did not breathe. The wind stilled. Even the horses bowed their heads slightly, as if acknowledging the gravity of the moment. Elira stood frozen before the Alpha King. His silver eyes did not waver. Up in the highest tower of Blackwood Keep, Cale's fists tightened against the stone railing as he watched the royal procession below. The crimson banners of the high throne fluttered in the moonlight. The mark of the crown, the mark of Alpha King Lucian Cale's pulse thundered. Why is he here, Elara? The king repeated softly. Hearing her name in his voice felt different, not possessive, not dismissive, certain. She forced herself to bow properly despite the pain tearing through her chest. Your Majesty, I do not understand why you seek me. Lucian studied her for a long moment. Her pale dress was stained with dirt from the road. Blood from the broken ritual still streaked her palm. Her eyes, once bright with hope, were now rimmed red from grief. And yet she stood straight, proud, unbroken. I seek you, he said evenly, because what happened tonight was not meant to happen. Her brows knit together. The bond was severed under the full moon. It is done. A faint shift passed through his expression. Something ancient, was it? Her wolf stirred faintly at the edge of consciousness. Impossible. The bond had snapped. She had felt it tear. Lucian stepped closer, and the air around them seemed charged with static. May I? He asked quietly. The simple question shocked her. Cale had never asked. Slowly, cautiously, she nodded. The king reached for her wounded palm. The moment his fingers brushed her skin, heat exploded through her veins. Not the burning agony of a broken mate bond. Something deeper, older. Her wolf surged violently inside her mind, howling not in pain, but in recognition. Elara gasped and stumbled forward. Lucian caught her instantly, strong arms steadying her before she could fall. His scent wrapped around her. Dark pine, cold air, something electric and wild. Her heart slammed against her ribs. What is this? She whispered. Lucian's voice lowered. Truth. Up in the tower, Cale saw it. Saw her collapse into the king's arms. Saw Lucian hold her, and something savage ripped through his chest. The broken bond might have snapped, but the possessive instinct had not died so easily. Elara, Lucian murmured near her ear, careful, controlled. Your pain is not from losing him. She trembled against him. It feels like death, yes, he said softly, because it is the death of a false claim. Her eyes widened. What are you saying? He gently released her, but did not step away. The mating mark you bore for Cale was incomplete. That's not possible. It was forced early, Lucian said calmly. Strengthened through ritual, encouraged by political pressure. Her mind spun. Cale had rushed the bonding ceremony months earlier than tradition required. The elders had approved it quickly, too quickly. You're lying, she whispered, but her voice lacked conviction. Lucian's silver gaze darkened. I have ruled longer than Kale has been alpha. I have seen false bonds. I have seen pacts manipulate fate for power. Her breathing quickened. No, the moon chooses, Lucian said, but wolves interfere. The memory crashed back to her the first night she met Kale. The pull had been strong, intense, overwhelming, but had it been right, or simply powerful? Her wolf, once silent after the break, stirred again. Not in mourning, in awareness. Lucian's voice softened. When you cut your palm tonight, I felt it. Her head snapped up. That's impossible. You are not. I am not his. Lucian agreed, silence stretched, then he said it. You are mine. The world tilted. Up in the tower, Kale's knuckles split as he gripped the stone railing. He couldn't hear the words, but he saw the king's mouth move. Saw Alara's face change. Shock, fear. Something else. Kale's wolf roared inside him. Mine. But the bond was gone, and the king was smiling. Alara stepped back, shaking her head. No, I just rejected my mate. I cannot survive another bond. It would destroy me. Lucian did not reach for her again. He gave her space. You misunderstand, he said. A true bond does not destroy. It restores. Her chest still ached, but beneath the pain was something else now. A pulse, a thread, silver, faint but alive. You felt it. Lucian said quietly. She swallowed. Yes. His expression softened in a way no subject had likely ever witnessed. I came tonight because the moon changed 3 days ago. Her breath caught. 3 days ago, the same night she overheard Kale in the council chamber. The high seer of the crown felt it first. Lucian continued. A shift in destiny. A queen unclaimed. Queen. The word terrified her more than Luna ever had. I am no queen, she whispered. You were never meant to be Luna. Lucian corrected gently. Behind them, the forest suddenly howled. Not one wolf, many, a chorus echoing from the mountain. Kale had shifted. Rage ripping through him as he leapt from the tower balcony to the courtyard below. The pack scrambled in fear. Because the alpha of Blackwood had just lost his mate, and the king had arrived minutes later. That was not coincidence. That was challenge. Lucian's guards stiffened at the distant howls. Alara turned toward the mountain, heart racing. He will come, she breathed. Lucian's eyes gleamed. I know. You don't understand Kale. He does not surrender what he believes is his. Lucian's silver gaze sharpened. She was never his, he said quietly to himself. Then louder, Alara of Crescent Ridge. She faced him again. You have 2 choices. Lucian said calmly. Return to that mountain where you will be pitied, questioned, and used as political leverage. Her stomach twisted. Or, he continued, offering his hand, not demanding, step into my carriage, come to the high throne, learn the truth of your bloodline, and decide your future with knowledge and not heartbreak. Bloodline, her pulse pounded. What do you know about my blood? Lucian's expression darkened slightly. Enough to know Kale never did. The distant howl grew closer. Fast, he was coming. Lucian's hand remained extended. Not forcing, waiting, the wind picked up again, whipping her torn white dress around her legs. Behind her. Pain, humiliation, uncertainty. Before her, the unknown, silver eyes that saw her, not as weakness, not as a pawn, but as something powerful. The howl broke through the trees, closer. Alara's heart made its choice before her mind could. She placed her hand in the Alpha King's. The moment their skin met, the faint silver thread inside her chest flared brighter. Lucian's jaw tightened, as if restraining something primal. Good, he murmured, and from the tree line a massive black wolf burst into view. Kale, too late. Lucian guided Alara toward the carriage as his guards formed a protective wall. Kale skidded to a halt in the dirt, eyes blazing gold as they locked onto Alara. Their gazes collided. Pain, regret, possession, you cannot take her. Kale snarled, voice half human, half beast. Lucian did not turn around. She already left. The carriage door closed. The horses surged forward, and as the royal procession disappeared into the night, Kale's roar shattered the forest. Alara did not look back, but inside her chest the silver thread pulsed stronger, alive. #Part 3. The throne of silver, the royal carriage did not slow. Black stallions thundered down the mountain road, iron, shod hooves striking sparks from stone. Crimson banners snapped violently in the wind, bearing the crest of the high throne. Inside the carriage, silence reigned. Alira sat opposite the Alpha King. Her former pack lands were already fading into the distance behind them, swallowed by darkness and pine forest. Her chest still ached, but not the same way. The sharp, tearing agony of the broken bond had dulled. In its place, warmth. A faint silver current moving beneath her skin. She pressed a trembling hand over her heart. Lucian noticed. He noticed everything. You feel it strengthening, he said quietly. She looked up at him. His silver eyes glowed faintly in the dim lantern light, not aggressively, just present. Powerful, controlled, what are you? She whispered. A corner of his mouth lifted slightly. I am what all alphas aspire to become, he replied calmly. But few survive long enough to be. Her pulse quickened. She had heard stories of the high throne since childhood. Of the king who united fractured packs, of wars crushed before they began, of enemies who vanished overnight. But stories never described this, the quiet intensity, the restraint. You said my bloodline matters, she pressed. Lucian leaned back slightly, studying her as if measuring how much truth she could bear tonight. Tell me something, he said instead. When you were a child, did your wolf manifest differently? Her breath caught. She had never told anyone that. She hesitated. I shifted early. How early? 6. Lucian's gaze sharpened. Most wolves did not shift until 12. Sometimes later, and when you lost control. He continued, voice steady. Did the moon feel closer? The memory slammed into her. The night her wolf first emerged, not wild, not savage, bright. Silver light wrapping around her small body as if shielding her. She had thought it imagination or childish fantasy. Yes, she whispered. Lucian exhaled slowly. You are not Crescent Ridge by blood. The words hit harder than the broken bond. What? Your pack raised you, he clarified, but they did not birth you. The carriage wheels rumbled over stone as they crossed the old border of Blackwood territory. Who did? She breathed. Lucian's voice lowered, the House of Silvercrest. Her heart stuttered. She had heard that name only in whispers. An ancient royal bloodline, thought extinct, they were wiped out, she said faintly, so the world believes. Silence filled the carriage. Alira's mind reeled. My parents died when I was an infant, she said slowly. Rogues attacked our caravan. Lucian's gaze darkened. Yes, the single word made her stomach drop. You were there, she realized. I arrived too late. A crack in his voice. Small, almost imperceptible, but it was there. You knew them, she said. Lucian nodded once. Your mother was my cousin. The world tilted. Alira stared at him. That makes you your rightful guardian, he finished. The silver thread inside her chest flared. Not romantic. Not yet. Protective, ancient, the bond between them shifted shape. Less fire, more gravity. Why did no one tell me? She demanded softly, because the massacre was not random. Her throat tightened. It was ordered. By who? She already knew the answer before he spoke. Blackwood was not yet under Kale's rule, Lucian said carefully. But his father sought alliance with Silvercrest. Your bloodline would have secured it permanently. Understanding dawned like a slow sunrise. They tried to claim me, yes. Her stomach churned. When the Silvercrest family refused to hand you over as a political bride. Lucian continued. The caravan was ambushed. Her nails dug into her palms. They killed my parents to control me. Lucian's jaw tightened. They intended to. The realization felt like ice in her veins. Kale, the boy she grew up beside, the alpha she loved. His father had murdered her bloodline, and she had nearly become their Luna. Her wolf stirred not in grief, but in rising fury. The carriage suddenly slowed. They had reached the edge of a cliffside. And beyond it, Alira gasped. The high throne stood, carved into the mountainside, like something forged by the gods themselves. Towering silver spires pierced the sky. Massive stone arches glowed faintly under moonlight. Waterfalls cascaded down the cliffs on either side, shimmering like liquid starlight. It was not merely a palace, it was power. It's beautiful, she whispered. Lucian watched her reaction, not the palace. Her? It was built by the first king, he said quietly, and it has waited a long time for its queen. Her breath faltered. You speak as if this is decided. It is not, he replied calmly. Nothing will be forced upon you. A deliberate promise. Unlike Blackwood, the carriage rolled through massive silver gates. Warriors bowed as they passed, not in fear, in loyalty. When the carriage finally stopped, Lucian stepped out first. Then he turned and offered his hand again. This time, she took it without hesitation. The moment her feet touched the stone courtyard, a pulse erupted beneath the ground. Silver light raced through the carved sigils lining the floor. The torches flared bright. Gasps rippled through the gathered guards. Lucian's grip tightened slightly, not restraining steadying. Allura looked down. Beneath her bare feet, the ancient crest of Silvercrest glowed. Alive, recognizing her, whispers spread like wildfire. The mark, it responds to her. Lucian did not look surprised. He looked satisfied. Tears burned her eyes. I don't know how to be this, she admitted softly. You will not learn alone, he said. The palace doors opened, and from the shadows of the grand hall, an elderly woman stepped forward, cloaked in deep blue. Her eyes were milky white, blind, yet they fixed directly on Allura. The moon has returned her, the woman said calmly. Lucian inclined his head slightly. High Seer. The seer smiled faintly. Welcome home, Silver Heir. Allura's heart pounded. Home, for the first time in her life, the word felt real. But far away, in the dark forest below the mountain, a pair of golden eyes watched the glowing palace. Kale stood at the border, his wolf trembling with rage and something far more dangerous. Regret. You were never meant for him, Lucian had said. Kale bared his teeth at the distant spires. She is mine. And somewhere deep within his chest, the broken bond left a scar that refused to close. Inside the palace, as Allura crossed the threshold, the silver thread inside her chest pulsed stronger than ever. Not claiming, not demanding, waiting. And when her hand brushed Lucian's again, the bond did not burn. It hummed, ancient, inevitable. The palace doors closed behind Allura with a deep, echoing resonance. The sound did not feel like imprisonment. It felt like sealing fate. Silver chandeliers lit the grand hall in soft lunar light. The walls were carved with ancient wolves, some in battle, some bowing, some crowned. Every inch of the high throne carried history. And as Allura stepped forward, the carvings along the marble floor glowed faintly beneath her feet. They were reacting to her. The High Seer tilted her head slightly, as though listening to something no one else could hear. It awakens, she murmured. Lucian's gaze remained steady on Allura. Yes, he said quietly, it does. Allura swallowed. She could feel it too now. Not just the silver thread inside her chest, but the palace itself. A pulse, like a heartbeat beneath stone. Why is it reacting to me? She asked softly. The High Seer smiled faintly. Because royal blood remembers. Allura's knees nearly gave out. Lucian moved instantly. Not possessive, not overwhelming, just present. His hand steadied her at her elbow. The contact sent warmth spiraling up her arm. Different from Kale, there was no searing fire, no consuming pull. This felt aligned, balanced. You need rest, Lucian said. I need truth, she replied, surprising even herself. A flicker of approval crossed his expression. Good. He did not want a fragile queen. He wanted a strong one. The High Seer turned toward the grand staircase. Then bring her to the Chamber of Echoes. Let her see. Lucian nodded once. Come. The Chamber of Echoes lay deep within the mountain itself. The air grew cooler as they descended. Silver lanterns lined the curved stone walls. Glowing brighter the closer Allura walked to the chamber doors. She felt watched, but not by enemies. By memory, the doors opened. Inside, a vast circular room stretched beneath a domed ceiling carved like the night sky. Constellations shimmered faintly overhead. At the center stood a shallow pool of perfectly still water. Lucian stopped at its edge. This chamber reveals truth bound by blood, he said. Allura's pulse quickened. What will I see? What you were meant to remember. She hesitated only a second before stepping closer. The moment she knelt at the pool's edge, the water rippled. Images began to form. A caravan moving under moonlight. A woman with silver, streaked hair holding a newborn child. Her mother's face was strong, beautiful. Fearless, they're close. A man's voice warned in the vision. Warriors emerged from the tree line, not rogues. Armored wolves bearing the crest of Blackwood. Alara's breath hitched. No, the attack was swift, brutal. Her father fell first. Her mother fought like a queen, but numbers overwhelmed. Then a shadow appeared at the edge of the battlefield. Tall, silver-eyed Lucian, younger, fiercer, he roared, shifting mid. Leap into a massive silver wolf. The scene dissolved into chaos, blood, fire, and then silence. The water stilled. Alara was shaking. They were never rogues, she whispered. No, Lucian said quietly. Tears slid down her cheeks. They were murdered for power. Yes, rage flared inside her, hotter than heartbreak ever had. Cale had grown up beside her knowing nothing, or had he? Lucian seemed to sense the direction of her thoughts. Cale was a child when this happened, he said. His father orchestrated it. That did not ease the storm in her chest. His father is dead, she said bitterly. His ambition is not. Silence settled between them. The water in the pool shimmered again. Another image formed, older now. Alara as a child in Crescent Ridge, small, alone. Silver light flickering faintly around her when no one watched. The elders whispering in dark corners. She's stronger than expected. The bloodline may have survived. We must secure her future before the king does. The image shifted. Cale as a teenager, staring at her across a training field. Intensity in his golden eyes, possession. Not love. Alara felt sick. They knew. She breathed yes. The water stilled once more. Silence returned to the chamber. Lucian stepped closer, but still left space between them. You were placed in Blackwood to be shaped, he said carefully. To grow loyal, to bind to their alpha, and eventually to give them royal heirs. Her stomach twisted violently. All those years, all those smiles, all that trust, manipulation. I loved him. She whispered, broken. Lucian's expression softened. Not jealous, understanding. You loved who you believed he was. Her chest tightened. And what am I supposed to believe now? She demanded. That you were never weak. He replied firmly. You were controlled. The words hit deeper than comfort ever could. Weak, that was the word Cale had used. Too weak to stand beside me. Alara rose slowly from the pool. The silver thread inside her chest pulsed stronger now. No longer faint, awake, and you? She asked quietly. What do you want from me, Alpha King? Lucian did not hesitate. Truth, he said. Choice, and if the moon wills it. His silver eyes darkened slightly. Partnership. The air between them shifted again. He stepped closer, close enough that she could feel the heat radiating from him. Close enough that her wolf stirred eagerly. You are not offering a cage, she said. No, not a throne as obligation. No, then what? His voice lowered. A kingdom beside me. The honesty in his tone stole her breath. For the first time since the broken bond, she did not feel discarded. She felt chosen, not because she was convenient, because she was equal. Suddenly, a violent tremor shook the chamber. Dust fell from the ceiling. Guards' footsteps echoed distantly above. Lucian's posture shifted instantly into command. What is that? Alara asked sharply. A guard's voice rang from outside the chamber. Your Majesty, Blackwood forces have crossed the northern border. Alara's heart stopped. Cale, Lucian's silver eyes turned cold as steel. So soon, he murmured, another tremor, closer. He's not here for land, Alara said quietly. Lucian looked at her. He's here for you. The silver thread inside her chest flared, not in fear, but in warning. Lucian extended his hand once more. Then it seems, he said calmly, you will witness what it means to stand beside a king. Above them, war horns sounded across the high throne. Cale had come, and this time he was not asking.